Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session of Power BI. So, in today's session, we are going to be talking about DAX formulas and how to create interactive dashboards in Power BI. So, in the previous session, we talked about Power Query, so how to clean your data using Power Query and how to model your data within Power BI. So, today, we're going to be looking at DAX and create interactive dashboards. Now, before we go to the practical aspect of it, what is actually DAX and what is it used for? Now, the main reason why DAX is very, very useful and important is this. When you are trying to create your dashboard within Power BI, you have some metrics that you wanted to like show to your client or to the company. Now, you have some metrics you want to show to them, probably the total sales or total transaction or total quantity or anything like that that you want to show within your dashboards. Now, the thing is this, when you try to use like Excel, let's say, for example, when we're trying to use a pivot table in Excel, Excel is limited to some types of metrics like only sum, count, average, maximum, and minimum. And anything that is outside that thing, you can't actually carry out that kind of like analysis within Excel. But DAX allows us to create our own metrics by writing a formula for it. So that's the way function of DAX. It allows you to define your metrics, any form of metrics that you wanted to show on your dashboard. Is it customer attrition? Is it churn rate or anything like that that you want to show on your dashboard? So DAX allows you to create uh, that metrics by writing your own formula. So that is one of the advantage of DAX. Now, before we go into the practical aspect of it, let's just look at some of definitions for DAX and some of the functions that we have within in DAX that we can use to create our own metrics. So briefly, let me just switch to this part. So like I said now, it is majorly used for data manipulation, analysis, and computation in Power BI. And the full meaning of DAX is data analysis expression. So it is used to compute for intricate computations, transformation, aggregation on your data with DAX function, which can be used to provide insightful insights, visuals, and a report. Now, let's look at the different types of DAX functions that we have. So we have DAX functions on time intelligence when you're trying to analyze your data based on a particular period of time. Okay, maybe what is our year-to-date revenue and what is the total revenue that we make for this month alone or that we make for last month January, sorry, last year January, stuff like that. So when you're trying to like manipulate or analyze your data within using a time using time is actually what we know as time intelligence within Power BI. So we have the statistical analysis, we have the aggregations, we have the text manipulation when you're trying to manipulate your text, just like we talked about in what's it called in Excel. So we have the date and time functions, logical functions, tables, and lookup functions. Now, let's look at some of these functions one after the other. Let's just look at some of the functions that we have under it. So for aggregation functions, we have the sum. So when you're trying to add up things, we have the average, we have the count, we have the mean, we have the max, we have the sum x, we have the average x. So for this date and time, we have this date, year, month. And for the text, we have the concatenate. For the logical functions, just like we have in Excel, if we have the switch and we have the not, uh, we have the is text for information functions, just like you are trying to get the information. Is this in the text? Is it a number? Is it blank? Is it not blank? So lookup functions, we have the time intelligence function year to date and same period last year, and financial functions and some other functions like that that we can't really go through in details now. So that is very, very rich in functions. Very, very, very rich in function. So the major challenges in that is, for a beginner is the process of like ability to combine these functions together to define your metrics. That is the most challenging part. And it's something that you learn like gradually. So it's not something that we develop in a day. You just have to start gradually, and with time you get there. So that's the thing. So that's the DAX function. So let's quickly switch back to our Power BI and see how we can now create some DAX functions here. Now, for this session, I'm going to be showing us how to create some basic DAX functions. So we'll be going deeper into some advanced DAX function in this. in this session. So I'm just going to be showing how to create some basic DAX function that is going to inform you on how to create your own, or try to like form your own DAX formula. Also, I'm going to put a link, give us a link. I'll send a link to the group page that's a link to a video that I actually go deeper into DAX, how to create DAX function, DAX formulas. It's an advanced video. So for those that are interested, so I'm going to give you the link, send the link to the group page for that. So now to create our own DAX function now. So the first thing that we need to know is different types of DAX function that we have, and actually we've shown us in that brief thing I showed you the other time. So we have the sum, we have the average, we have the max, we have the mean, and stuff different types of function like that, depending on the types of metrics you want to create. Now for this one, let's say I have my sales here now, and on my dashboard, I wanted to show some metrics. And some of the metrics I want to show on my dashboard is total sale, total customers that we that we have, and total sales, that is total revenue generated, and the total quantity sold. So that's what I want to show. So I want to show the total customer, total quantity sold, and the total revenue generated for our transaction. So to do that, I can create that using DAX formula. So to create the total customer, to create the total customers DAX formula within Power BI. So the first thing I need to do is just I need to click on new measure. So it is, you can see, write a DAX expression that calculates a value from your data. So to write the DAX formula, you have to select new measure. So I select new measure. And now before I start that, before I go into that, now let me show you how to create some calculated column. Sorry, I skipped that calculated column. So calculated column is just a new column that you created within Power BI. No, it's not a column that comes with your data set. It's just a new column that you created within Power BI here now. So that's an example of a calculated column. And you will do that a lot when you are transforming your data. So I might want to divide one column by the other just to create a new column, or multiply one column by the other just to create a new column. So all those processes are known as, what we are doing is we're trying to create a calculated column within Power BI. So let me just show a very good example of a calculated column. So I want to create the revenue column now. And to create a revenue column, you need the quantity and the price. But the price column is on the product table. So this is the price product for each product now. And for the sales, I need the price for individual transactions. Like, what is the price for this particular product that this person bought? What is the price for this? So I need to get the price, yes, before I can calculate the revenue for each transaction. Now, I need to bring the price from the product table into this table. Now, you know that the product table is a one-sided table, like I mentioned earlier, and the sales table is a many-sided table, like I also discussed earlier. Now, if you wanted to bring a column from a one-sided table to a many-sided table like sales, we use a function within Power BI known as related. So we have two functions. We have the related and related table. So we have the related and related table. Let me quickly just type in something here. But before you create a DAX formula in Excel, in Power BI, you have to start with equals to. So to create a calculated column, you have to click on new column. So that's the function. You create a new column, and the first thing that you type in is, before the equals to sign, you have to type in the name of the column you want to create. So this one is the price column here. And after equals to, that's where you now define your formulas and everything. Now, for me to bring the price column from the product to the sales, I have to use a function known as related. I said we have two functions. You can see related and related table. So related is used to bring in a column from a one-sided table to a many-sided table, like sales. And if I want to take a column from a many-sided table like sales to a product table, to a product table that is one-sided, I use related table. So taking a column from one table to the other, depending on the types of table you have, is what determine the type of functions that you use. Is either related or related table. So for this thing now, I'm using related because I'm bringing it from a one-sided to a many-sided. So related. Now, after typing related, it's going to ask you what column do you want to bring in into the sales. You understand? You notice that I selected the sales table. That's why it is showing my value, the column under the sales. So you have to select the table you want to put in your create a column on. So it's asking me, okay, what column do I want to bring in into the sales? So I have to like select it. Okay, I want to bring in the unit price column. You can see it from the product table. That's why it's a product first. So it's going to show the name of the table first, then the column in in a square bracket. So I click on it. So this is the column I want to bring in from product table. Now this thing is going to work and it's going to populate the price into the sales table. Let's just do that. And the reason why this thing is possible is because we've established relationship between price and sorry, products and between product table and sales table. We've established relationship by modeling it. So if there is no relationship, this thing will not work. So the reason why this thing is working is because there's a relationship that stands. So after bringing in the price now, so I can now create a calculated column for the revenue. You understand now? To create a calculated column for the revenue, just click on new column also, and and it's going to like I can type in the name of the column before the equals to sign, and just type in revenue and type in my formula here. And I know revenue is the quantity multiplied by the price. So I'm going to like sales quantity, that is a quantity column under sales table, multiplied by the price column under the sales table also. So and that's the revenue formula. So if I press enter now, so this one is going to generate revenue for me. So these two columns are known as calculated column because they didn't really come with our data set. It is something that we created that we create within Power BI. So that's an example of a calculated column. And you can do so many calculated column like that. You might, and you know, we have different functions. You can use that function to create a calculated column too. Different types of it can be text manipulation. Probably I'm trying to extract a text from this node to the other one. I'm trying to like, you know, all sort of things like that that we talk, all those text functions that we talk about in Excel can also be carried out here also. Now, to now go back to our writing our defining our metrics. So after defining this thing now, so I have the revenue column and everything. So what I want to calculate is the total customer, the total quantity sold, and the total revenue generated from all those transactions. So that's the next thing I want to create now. So to start that, to write the DAX formula, I'm going to click on new measure. You understand now? So for this one, it's going to be a new measure. So you can see new measure. So after you write that new measure. So the first one I want to create is total customer. What is our, I want to know the total number of customer that we have. So to do that, it's going to be for the equals to, I have to put the name of the DAX formula or the name of the metrics there. So total customer. So I type in sum. So to create the total customer now, no, total customer. Uh, Let me quickly delete this so that I can show you what I want to show you. Now to create the total customer, sorry. Now, if you come to our customer table, you notice that we have our customers identified by their unique identifier, which is the customer ID. So from the customer table, each rows contains individual customers and they are all unique. So to get the total number of customers that I have here, I have to use the count function. So what I need to do is just count the number of rows that I have here. So the number of rows that I have here will give me some insight into the total number of customers that we have. You understand now? So the total number of rows is our customer. So this customer, our first customer, second customer, identified by the customer ID. So the total number of customers that I have here, I have in this table is our total number of rows I have is our total number of customers. So to do that, I'm going to come on sales, create new measure. So for me to create the total customers, I'm going to use the function known as total count rows. So total customer, I'm going to be using count rows. So total customer, so I'm going to use count rows. That functions I'm going to be using count rows. So when you select count rows now, count rows taking a table, you know, imagine it's counting number of rows. So the parameter that you supply in is the table name. Okay, what table do you want to count the number of rows? And you know, before you can use count row, you must be sure that rows that you have this are unique. That's why the data cleaning is very, very important. So count rows. Okay, what rows do I want to count? I can just say, okay, the table name, which is the customer. Understand now? So that will give us uh, our rows. Or you can also use, instead of using count, this will give us our answer. Instead of using count rows also, we can use count distinct. That's another way. We can use that one to count distinct. Since we know that each customer is represented by their customer ID. So I can just use distinct counts and I just customer ID. That's another way to do that. So you can use it or you can use count rows. So let's leave this. So let's say count distinct and that's the total number of customers that we have. So you can format it. So in this case, it's this whole number that we're going to be using for this and everything like that. So this one is actually okay now. So that's our first metric that has been calculated. And that's our first DAX formula. So now the next one I want to calculate now is the total quantity sold. So what is the total quantity sold generally? So to do that, I'm going to be using a DAX formula also. Let me remember that. So new measure, and for this one, total quantity, what was that? Total quantity. So I can just say QTY, total quantity, and I'll just say for total quantity now, since I'm summing up the values that I have under the quantity table, so I'm going to be using sum, not count this time. You know, the reason I'm using count the other time was because um uh the customer ID that I'm writing that formula is the categorical data, and the only thing I can do with the categorical data is just to like do a count. But this one, I'm having a numeric value, so I have to like sum it up. So sum, that's why I'm using sum. Then you put in the name of the column you want to sum here. So from the sales table, I'm using the quantity column. Can see sum of this table, and this is going to give us our total quantity sold now, and that's that, and that's our quantity. Now the last part, the next one we want to calculate before actually show you some other thing is the total revenue generated. So what is the total revenue? So what I need to do to calculate the total revenue is just sum up the values in the revenue column. And what am I going to use for that is also sum, because I'm adding it up. So total revenue, and so for this now, it's going to be sum. Sorry. And what column am I summing up? I'm summing up this revenue column from the sales table. And that's that. Then we have our metrics. You can see we've defined the first metrics, writing DAX formulas for it. You can see total customer, total quantity, and total revenue. If you come to the left, to the right hand side here now, and notice that you can see the difference between a calculated column and a uh, a DAX a measure. So this is a measure now, this is a calculated column. This is different. Now let me quickly show you some things on how this thing function. So let me quickly switch to my dashboard now. And I'm going to be using a table for this. So let's just create a simple table. Now, when you create a DAX formula, let's say for example now, I have created these DAX formulas now. And if I drag in brand, should I drag in brand or operating system? Let me drag in operating system. Operating system today, you can see the different operating system that we have. We have the let me just zoom in a bit. We have the Android, the BlackBerry, the iOS, the Java, and everything. Okay. So if I drag in the DAX formulas that I have here now, probably total customer into this, should I drag the customer? Yeah, we have 50 for everything. Now, so let me drag this. So, I drag in the total quantity now. See what it's doing. So, one thing about these dark formulas that we create is this. When you try to like aggregate it based on a particular categorical variable, like operating system, it tends to break the total quantity down based on the aggregate variable. You understand? Aggregate variable in this case is the operating system. So it's breaking it down, total quantity based on Android. If I drag it to it in a tabular form, You understand? So it's creating a filter based on the aggregate variable, which is operating system in this case. So it's breaking down total quantity for Android, for BlackBerry, for iOS, for Java, for Windows Phone. And that's how it works by default. So when you create just a single metrics using sum or anything within Power BI without adding any filter to it, it tends to do work this way. And if I type in a revenue also, if I drag in the revenue also, you can see it's breaking this one down based on the operating system. And that's how it works. So depending on the aggregate variable that you put there, it can be brand. It can be, let me put in brand now. So if I drag in brand now, it's going to break it down based on brand now. You can see, not on this thing again. So any aggregate variable that you put there is going to break down your measures based on that particular thing. That's the first catch. Now let's go back to that one and let me show you another thing. Now, let's say, for example, now I want to add my own filter to it. So this is the default filter or general filter that comes with dark formula. So whenever you create a measure, automatically it tends to break it down based on this. But let's say, for example, I want to do my own, add my own filter options to my dark formulas. In the sense that I want to disable this general filter and add my own filter. What do I mean by that? So if I come to this dark formula now, let's say, for example, I want to create the total sales. What is the total revenue generated for a particular operating system? You understand now? Okay, what is the total revenue generated for Android operating system? I'm putting my own plus there now. I'm adding my own filter to it. I'm not just summing up the general revenue. I just want to know the revenue generated for a particular operating system. So in that case, I can add code that type of formulas or create that matrix within using writing that formulas. So how do I do that? I can just create on new measure. So for this now, let's say revenue for Android underscore Android. So I start typing. I said, okay. Now, when you are trying to like add your own filter or try to calculate maybe a revenue for a particular thing or if a particular range of values, for example, in that case, I'm not going to be using sum now. I'm going to start with calculate. So if I'm going to like be like engineering the whole calculation just to like tailor it to a particular thing, then I have to use calculate. So you wanted to write a DAX somewhere that has like that is targeted towards a particular thing. For example, now revenue for Android alone. So I can't use sum, general sum or anything like that. So I have to start with calculate. So calculate. Now, when you type in calculate, it's going to ask for the first parameter is the expression. So the expression in this case is the DAX formula that has already been created. Now, if a DAX formula is not created, you don't have a DAX formula created before, like those total revenue, total quantity, then you have to add code the DAX formula here. So in this case, I can just say sum, you understand now, sum of revenue. You understand? So that is my expression. Since I've already created the DAX formula, so I don't have to write the formula again. Just call the name of the formula that I've written before. You understand? So let me just call the function since I've already created a dark formula for that. So I'm going to be calling total revenue. So those are made by expression. Now the next one is the filter. So what do you want to filter this expression? That is, what total revenue do you want to calculate? So I want to calculate total revenue for operating system Android. So I'm going to call the operating system column here now. That'll be sales. No, sorry, products operating system. So when the product operating system is equals to Android, so put it in quotes. It has to be in quotes. Android. Then you close the bracket like this. So in Android. So when this particular condition is true, that is the revenue that is going to give you. So that's that. If I press enter now. So after creating the total revenue for Android operating system alone, so let's go back to our table and see how that one. So this is the first one. So if I drag in the revenue for Android alone now, I'm trying to drag in the revenue for Android to the table. You can see what is showing us here now. Now I'm getting revenue for some brands of phones, and I'm not getting for other type of brands of phone. This is because those ones that I'm getting are Android phones. You understand that we only create total revenue for Android phone. So he has removed the general filter that is there since we've enabled our own filter. So when you put in your own filter option there, automatically DAX formula is going to like remove the default filter that is there. So it's only giving me the total revenue based on Android phones. And Cartel and Amazon are what are Android phones. That is why it's giving me those. And those that is not giving me any revenue for it, they are not Android phones. So to better understand that, let me drag in operating system to this table. Let me drag it here. You can see now what I'm saying that Cartel and Amazon are Android phone. That's why it's giving me revenue for them. You can see Cartel and Amazon. Let me try to expand this a bit. Now, Cartel and Amazon are Android phones. So those that are not Android phones is not giving me the revenue for it, and that's that one work. So if I actually remove what's it called, let me remove brand from it now. Notice that what is giving me now is only the word revenue for Android phones alone. Because I've said it in my formula that okay, what I want to see is only what is only Android phone operating system revenue. Now, another thing also we can tweak the formula. Let's say, for example, now we want to see the total revenue for Android and Java OS. You understand now? Like I want to enable the filter for what? Give me the total revenue for Android and Java OS. We can write another formula for that. So let's go to our DAX formula briefly. So let me just create a new measure. New measure. So this one will be let's say Android and Java. Android, sorry, Android underscore Java underscore ref. Let's just put it this way. Just the name it there. Now to write the formula, I'm going to use calculate again. So calculate. So in this case, let me just type instead of using the expression, let me type in the formula. Sum of um, sales revenue, which is equal to the total revenue formula also. So after doing that, sum of sales revenue, you close the bracket for that one, comma, and he's asking for the filter option. Filter is when the operating system, that is product operating system, in since I'm trying to like get revenue for more than one filter now, I'm not just going to put equals to. Now I have to put in if you are filtering for more than one value, so it's better to put in. So if this operating system is in these things I'm about to list now, calculate the total revenue for those ones. So in that case, in then I'm going to use a curly brackets. So curly brackets, then you put it inside. What are the values like you want it to calculate the total revenue for? So the first one is Android. So I'm going to put Android in quotes, it has to be in quotes, and they are case sensitive. So they are case sensitive, you have to check that. So the next one is Java. I think this Java, then OS. So it's, I think this is so that's that. So I close the curly braces. So I want to see the total revenue for Android and Java OS only. So after doing that, I close the bracket and I press enter. So let's go back to our table and see how this one works. So if I drag in the revenue for Android and this thing here now, so drag it to the table. You can see what I'm getting now. So what I'm getting here is the total revenue for Android and Java OS. Because if you see, this one is 51,185, 51,185, and this one is 8,761. So if you add the two together, it should give us 59,956. So that is how it works now. And it's actually giving me for everything because that is my filter option. That's my new filter option. That is, I want only for Android and Java OS. And that is how you just tweak your filter options within DAX formulas and every other thing. And that goes for accounts, that goes for counts, that goes for sum, average, and every other thing. Like all these aggregate function, it goes for it. You can enable your filter and everything like that there. So let's quickly go to a DAX formula again. So if I want to find the average, like probably what is the average revenue for every one of them. So what I need to do is just type in maybe average revenue. So just average, you have the function average, and so the next one is average. You put in the column you want to find the average, and this case sales um revenue. So you can do that. And if I press enter, And I can format this result, like if I want to format the output, probably I want to put like to display dollar sign, currency sign in front of it. I can format it in any way I want. So automatically I just select the dollar sign and it's going to format it that way. So we come to our table back. Let's go back to the table and let me remove this so as to get more space. So if I put in the average revenue, where's that? Okay, average. So if I drag it here now, you can see I'm getting the average revenue for the video operating system. And this can also be on touch. So if I change the aggregate functions to anything like probably touch or non-touch. So let's do that now on that type. Let's change the operating system to type. Let's see how that works. You can see for type, for non-type, and every other thing like that. So that is that. So other we have some major functions. Another thing I would like to talk about DAX also is this divide. So when you're trying to like find a kind of like a percentage. So I want to calculate a percentage, what is the percentage change or anything like that. So that let's go to that. To calculate the percentage, we use the function known as divide. So divide is, when you are getting your what's it called now, a percentage, you divide your numerator by your denominator, stuff like that. So that this one also works in that manner. So if I create new measure, probably I want to find the let's see, what is the percentage of each quantity sold for each operating system. So I want to calculate the percentage of product sold for each operating system, quantity of product sold for each operating system. So in that case, I can just write okay, percentage quantity. Let's say percentage quantity or quantity percentage, any other. So let's just say QTY, no percentage there. So in this case now, I'm going to be using divide. Now, when you are calculating percentage, you have your numerator and you have your denominator, then you divide them. So there's not actually a percentage function here that you can use. So in that case, it's going to be divide. Now, when you put in divide, look at the parameter that this one is asking for. It's asking for the numerator and it's asking for the denominator. So in this case, what is my numerator? My numerator is individual quantity for each, what's it called now, for each operating system or for each anything. So individual quantity. So in that case, I'm just going to be typing sales quantity. You understand now? And what I want to divide it by? So I want to divide it by the total quantity. The total quantity. So now, for us to calculate the total quantity for everything, we have to write in some code here. So in this case, it's going to be, um, no, this one is going to be sum of sales. Sorry, sum of sales. Or we can just, instead of us writing it again, let's just call our total quantity function that we already created. So total quantity. So you can either put in total quantity or write in the formula again. So but let's just do total quantity. It's already there. Total quantity. So that's our DAX formula expression divided by. So the next one is now going to be the grand total quantity. Because for me to get the maybe the percentage of a particular thing, so individual value divided by the grand total. That's how it works. So the total quantity divided by the what? By the grand total. So how do we calculate the grand total? So to calculate the grand total quantity now, I'm going to be using another function known as all. All is the filter option here. All. That is, so let's write this thing. So for me to be able to calculate that all grand total quantity, then I have to bring in the calculate function in this place. You understand that? So calculate, look at it now. Calculate. What am I calculating? The total quantity. Let me just use that expression as I have now. Now, what is the filter expression for this? The filter expression is all. That is, don't add any filter option to it. Just sum everything all for everything in the table. You understand? So I'm going to be using all. And when you use all is asking for a table. All of what table is this? The sales table. So all the quantity in the sales table, just add everything together without putting any filter in there. So I close this bracket. And so the next one is that, okay, what if there is no value for this, or what if this thing is infinity, just represent it with zero. So and that's that. Okay, no, sorry. For the first one, and close the bracket for the first one first. So this what I'm going to put zero. So it's asking for the alternative result. So if we don't find answer, or if this answer for this one is infinite or something like that, what should you replace it with? Replace it with zero. So that's zero. So if I close this bracket now, and I think that's all. So we've done that. So after I just press enter, Now, after doing that, you have to format it to be in percentage because that's what, normally is in proper fraction. Just put the percentage to it so that you can format it in percentage. So put percentage and to this percentage. So let's go to the table and see how this will work. So if I come here now and let's drag in the percentage. Okay, you can drag the percentage, go to percentage. Okay, it's not showing anything. Definitely, we are missing something in the formula. What's going on? Let's go here. Okay, don't. Okay, let's check our formula again. Something is wrong with the formula. So calculate. Let me check it again. Or seven, to the point of view. Um, uh, sorry. Okay, so let's check this again. Okay, sorry. So we don't have to put divide here. Sorry, you don't have to put this divide. It should be a comma, you know, numerator separated, numerator, comma, denominator. So it's not like division sign. Sorry, that's where the mistake is coming from. So press enter again. So let's check that again now. And you can see now. So Alcatel account for 55.53 percentage of our total quantity. And Amazon account for 9.5%. You can see now. And I'm very, very sure Android will have the highest. If you check, okay, this one is brand. So you can see it's breaking it down based on percentage. So if I drag this thing now, also if I change the brand, let's say I put in type now, touch phone account for 60.8% of our total quantity sold. So that is how that one work now. We are calculating percentage for this now. And that is our work now. And for this percentage, so after calculating this percentage now, I've calculated the percentage for it. I might want to like do something like also edit the what was it called now? This thing, this key quantity that I created to like, okay, calculate the quantity, percentage quantity for uh Android and Android and Java OS. So it's going to add the percentage for Android and Java OS together. So that actually works for DAX formula. And these and many more are what you can create with your DAX. So we have the logical function, we have the text functions, also things like that that you can create with this DAX formula. So these are the basic functions that we're going to be talking about on DAX for this session. And I'm going to drop the video that I mentioned earlier for some advanced DAX function. And you can also just try out some things and go online and do some research on how to get some of these functions. So so that would be that for our DAX function for today. Now, the next thing we want to talk about now is let's just go to create our dashboard. Let's go to create our port. Now, let me quickly switch back to my dashboard and let's delete this thing. So what I want to create now is I want to create a dashboard that shows I think I have something here also. Okay, let me put it. So I want to create a dashboard that shows the total quantity, total customers, and total revenue. Like I want them to show, so and I want to see the sales by different products, by brand, by operating system, and by type. And also I want to see the trends of sales over a period of time. So let me just get into this that I start like visualizing the whole data set. Now for me to see the total customer, total quantity, and total revenue metrics, I'm going to be using a visual known as card here. So if you are representing just a single metric, it's better to use card for that. Card is the best visuals to use for that kind of thing. So in that case, I'm going to select, let me select my visuals like a dashboard and just click on card. So this is a card visual now. It's a card visual. So the next thing I'm going to do now is this. So when you select the card visual, like I said earlier, you have to select your visual first. Then you drag in a field that you want to populate on the visual. So in this case now, is if you go to the right hand side, down the visual, sorry, the chart pane, you can see fields there. So you drag in the field that you want to populate on this visual. So in this case, I want to check the total customer. So total customer, drag it there, and you can see you should give me total customer as a card like that. And that's what you use for card. Now the next thing I want to do is this. I'm going to click outside and select the visual card again. I want to visualize the total quantity, all this customer, total quantity sold. So in that case now, I'm going to be dragging in total quantity to the feed. And you can see now that's the total number of quantity sold. And the next one is the revenue. So I can just duplicate this chart, like just duplicate this one, Control C, Control V, and you drag it outside. And you can change the feed within the listing. So I'm going to remove the total quantity. Then this one is total revenue. Now, so I have my total revenue here like this. It's showing 81K. You can see now I have my cards here now. So this one is showing 81K. Sometimes some people don't really like this kind of like version. They might want to see the value, like everything to bring it every value, maybe 81,500 something naira, something like that. So to do that, you just come to select the card that you wanted to change the format. You come to format visuals. You can see format visual. And from format visual, you go to the call out value, call out value. So when you click on the call out value, you can see display units. Display units in auto. So if you don't want any of these thousands or millions, you can change it to none. And it's going to display your value like this. You understand? It's going to display your value like this. So this one is not properly formatted. You can see it's not properly formatted. Let me try and format it. So to format it, I should have done that when I was writing the production lab, but I can also do it again here. So select the what's it called now? Select the metrics that you created, and after selecting it, you come here and just put a comma separator so as to make it look nice. And you can put dollar sign or any form of currency that you like. You can see. Let's just put dollar and let's put it that way. So that's that. So that one is working perfectly fine now. And this is also okay like this. So this is our first visual. So we've created a card. So another thing I want to see on my dashboard based on the metrics that I've listed here and everything I've arranged on my sketch, pad or book before. So the next thing is I want to see the total revenue by brand, total revenue by operating system. So I want to total revenue by brand and total revenue by operating system. So in that case, the type of chart that I'll actually go for is that is a bar chart. So for me, it's the best bar chart is bar chart for that. Like I just want to see that. So I'm going to go for bar chart. So select bar chart. Just a bar chart. Okay, sorry. I have to just select outside and click on new. Now this is the bar chart. So I have to populate the bar chart with the field I want it to show. So the next one, the field I want to use is the brand. So the first one is the brand. Where's the brand? Under the product. So I drag in the brand to the y-axis. Then I drag in the total revenue to the x-axis. Now you can see I'm getting my uh revenue by brand now. So this is also showing the revenue by brand. Now another thing I want to like do here is this. I want to see the label of each brand, like the total revenue generated from each brand. I want to see it in front of it because I can't really tell what's total revenue generated for Amazon, although it's higher than the other one, but I want to see the actual amount. So to do that, I have to bring in the label. So select the chart that I want to enable the label, and you come to this format visual. So from there, you can select data label. Data label is disabled. You can see now. So I'm going to enable it, and I have my data label in front of it. So that's that. So another thing I want to see now is this. I want to see the next one is I want to see the revenue, total revenue by operating system. So I'm still going to use that same bar chart. Click aside. So in this case now, so you drag it, you can actually put in your chart in anywhere within the uh, uh, dashboard interface. So you just drag it to whatever you want to report it as. Drag it whatever you want, adjust it, adjust the size. And you can see that as I'm adjusting the size, there's this like kind of like annihilating a line, try to align the whole chart in the same level, that red line. You can work with that also. So now in this case, I'm going to drag the operating system to the y-axis, and I'm going to drag the revenue to the x-axis. And sorry, dragging PID should be operating system, and that's that. So I can see the operating system generated by, sorry, total revenue from each operating system. So I want to enable the label because it's not enabled to be able to see. So go to format visual and enable the label, and that's that. So that's the other thing I want to do. So another thing I want to do is I want to see um the trend. What is the trend? Sales trend. Sales trend. Well, I want to see my sales trend over probably by year, by month, or by anything. So for me that I'm going to be using my line chart. So sales trend. So that one is going to inform me on how I'm doing. Like what is my sales trend? Is it increasing over time or is it decreasing? Stuff like that. So as to know what to do next. Sales trend. Sales trend. Okay. Sales trend. And for the sales trend now, for the x-axis, it's going to be the dates. So I drag in the date there. And for the y-axis, I'm going to drag in the revenue. You can see this is my sales trends over the year. You can see I'm having more sales in this thing. And one thing about this sales trend is that there's a drill down option here. You can drill down to like probably month based on the hierarchy that is created in this x-axis. You know, we have the year, quarter, month, and day. So you can drill down by that. Just clicking on this drill down, you say go to the next level in the hierarchy. So this is the quarter, and this is the month. So and this is the day. So you can just and you can drill up also. So that is what that one is for. So that's my trends and everything. So another thing I would like to see here is this. So we format it and based on that and that and that. So I would like to see so for this one has a very long listing. I can put it here. It has a very long list. So I can put it here just to show here, and let this one be here. So we don't you have to arrange the chart so that it can look nice. Now another thing I want to do now is this. I want to see um sales by city, like revenue by city. You know, I have city option there. Now you can easily use a what's it called a map for this thing. You can use a field map, or you can use this thing. But it's when you're using a field map, it's better to have probably the value of the longitude and latitude, or also probably the city you are trying to like check out. If the city in US and the city are quite large, it is better. But for this kind of city, I don't have much city in my data set, so it won't really show on the map. So that's one of the limitations there. But if the city are large, probably you have a city for all the cities in US, it's better to go for the charts, the map. So you can go for this map or field map. So that one is better. So it's going to populate the thing for you. For this, I'm going to be using bar chart. So in this case, select bar chart. So for this, I'm going to be dragging city. I think city is other customer. City, drag city to the y-axis and total revenue to the x-axis. I think that's it. Revenue to the x-axis. Revenue to the x-axis. Just a minute. So in that case, where's the revenue? Okay, it's here, and you have it. So these are my sales by city. So I can add in my what's it called label also. Can add in label also. So this one can be um visuals. So we have it that way. So let me drag this thing here so that I can be this way here. So this one can be here. I'm trying to arrange the chart. So that is that. So another thing I would like to see is probably let me just see trends of the sales, trend of the sales, like trends of the quantity sold. You know, you want to track the no, this is revenue, so I want to see the quantity too. Provided they really uh go or have the same pattern. So in that case, I'm going to be showing trend. So bring this one here. drag it. You can see, drag it here. And for this one, it's going to be dates, dates, quantity. And you can see, I think we tend to follow the same pattern for this, my data set though. We tend to follow the same pattern. So I can adjust this thing to just give it more room here. This thing a bit to come a bit. And that's that. You can also drill down for these 2 months and everything like that. So that's that. You see, I've just created just a simple dashboard now. It's just like next time. So this is my dashboard. And this is based on the metrics I want to see. So you can define your own metrics. So it's your metrics that will determine uh what type of visuals or what type of visuals you can use for this one. Now this is this now. And if you check this dashboard, now this dashboard is interactive in the sense that if I select probably I want to see the transaction for New York alone. If I select New York, you can see I'm getting the I'm getting the total what's it called now? The trends sales for New York. So for New York, I only have 9 customers and how many quantities sold? Like 44. And see total revenue generated. So that is that. And you can see that's that now. So another thing I would like to see is this. Like I'm just thinking out loud now. Probably let's just remove this quantity since they follow the same pattern. Let's remove this quantity and let's put this one here. Let's put this one here. And let's try to extend this a bit. So for this one, let me just see my percentage of my customers in terms of like gender. So I want to see what is the okay, what is the percentage of um male that I have compared to female. So I want to see the percentage instead of the absolute value. So in that case, now for me to create that one for male and female, that means I have to write a formula for it to calculate okay, what is the total male and what is the total female that we have. And I can use the customer, total customer for that. You understand? Since I've linked up the two these so I can calculate the customer, use the total customer function. So to do that, let's just go to DAX and quickly create that. So you come to DAX now. So for this, it's going to be let's create new measure. So for the percentage of male and female, so that would be maybe customer percentage or something. So in this case now, and so the next thing I'm going to be using divide because it's percentage divide. So my numerator is my customer. So the customer is total customer that I have. You understand now? Comma. The denominator is now calculate because I have to calculate the grand total of all the customers that we have. Because this one, like I said earlier, when you create a total customer by just using count and so on, automatically it's going to filter based on the aggregate variable that you put there. But when you use all, it's not going to filter based on anything. Like it's just going to be everything all. So I'm going to probably show you a simple table of how the all thing works now. Let's just create instead of writing the coding the formula, let's just write the all. Let me see let me show you how it works. So grand total, you can see if there's a name like that, let's just say grand total customer. If there's something like that. So in that case, I'm going to be using calculate. So calculate the total customer that is that I've created before in that one I've created comma. So in this case, I use filter the other time, like using for operating system and this. So if I put all, it's going to add up all the total customer for every customer that we have in this table, in the customer table. So in that case, that would be all. So it's asking for a table. I'm going to put a customer instead and that. And if you click on that and press enter, okay, let me close the bracket again. Yeah. So that works. So let me quickly show you a brief table. Let's just use a table before we go back to our dashboard. So let me pull a table here. Yeah, so that we can see how this thing works. So if I drag in brand, you can see the brand. Let me zoom out this thing a bit. So brand, okay. And I try to drag in the go to that customer. Where's that? I can see. You can see now it's showing 50, 50, 50 for everything. But if I drag into my total customer, is okay. This one is showing 50, 50 too. Uh, let's see that. Okay, we have 50 customer for all the things. Yeah, probably from the data set. All our 50 customer purchase Akatel. All our 50 customer purchase Amazon. Yeah, that can be the case for that one. But what the different case for this is this. So if I try to, let me show you something on this chart now. Let me delete this one and go to the chart. You notice that when I try to filter based on Android, it's because I'm getting the same thing for all those ones, like 50 customer purchase, all these things. And let's go to Amazon too. So that one also works like that. So let's try City. Okay, now. So based on City now, so the reason being is this. This one is showing 50 for Android and Amazon is because all the customers that we have also like buy this uh uh buy this type of operating system and they also buy this brand also. So if I click on Java OS, so they also purchase Java OS and they also purchase this thing. But when you come based on New York City now, you can see for New York is only 9 customers. So let's try and use that for table. Let's use that and see that works. So table and so let me drag in city. You can see. Let's drag in total customer. You can see now we are getting total customer for this. We have for Boston, we have this for that, we have that, we have that, we have that. So let's drag in the grand total to see how that one works. Where's the grand total? Okay, this is it. You can see this one is showing 50-50 for everything. The grand total is just add everything up. I want the total of everything. That's what all is used for, is adding up everything. That's why I buy grand total the other time. So that's how that one works now. So after creating the grand total, I've actually created the total quantity also. So I can now go back to my DAX to create the percentage. What is the customer percentage for each gender or percentage distribution for each gender. So let's go back to that DAX. So I've created this one. So what I need to do is just create a new measure again. And this one will now be customer percentage. Let's just put it that way. Customer underscore percentage. So this will now be for that one, I'm going to type in calculate divide. So the first one I'm going to be supplying for the numerator is total quantity, which is the numerator, total customer rather, sorry. And the next one will be the grand total, which is the denominator. And the next one is if this value does not find anything, return it with 0 and press enter. So for this now, you can press enter and select percentage just to format it. Yeah, so we've created the customer percentage. So if I come to this part now, oh my, what am I doing right now? Okay, sorry. So let me this way. So to create percentage, so I'm going to use a bar chart, like a column chart rather. Let's use a column chart. And for this, I'm going to drag in gender and drag in the customer percentage. Where is it? Is it? Okay, y-axis rather. And you can see the percentage now. So I can put in the label to percentage. We're still going to format this chart. So put the label, format your visuals and label. And you can see 54% of our customers are male, while the other 46% are female. So we can format this thing to be like one decimal place instead of that, this thing. Okay. Yeah, that one works. So that's that. So I've created my dashboards now. So this is what I want to do. Now I just want to clean up the visuals a bit just to make it more to look nicer. Like I want to remove some things that are really needed and some things. So for example, now I have some grid lines here because I don't want the grid lines. I can remove all the grid lines and all this labeling and everything. I don't really want it. So I just want to like do that. So let me just quickly format this one to come to this part and for x-axis, For x-axis, I don't want the title. I don't want the title. And so, yeah, I don't want the title. That's that. I like the value like that. So for the y-axis, so I don't want the title. I don't want the title. You can see. I don't want the values also. Like it shouldn't show me the value because I already have what's it called now? The label on top of it. It's not showing me all the 60 and everything. So I can just remove that one. Just switch it off. And I think we have it. Look, the chart is much more okay like this. And that's that. So and the grid lines. So if you don't want grid lines, although automatically grid line for this one is turned off. So grid line for this can turn it off. I don't want grid lines. And for the visual also, I don't want the title for that one because revenue by operating system is at the top, so we don't need all these ones. And I don't also need the title for the other one. So remove the title for the x-axis. So I think I'm getting a very nice something now. And this one too. Let's just come on this one too. I don't want the title. And for x-axis, I don't want anything at all. It's actually happening. So let me just remove this x-axis and everything. So I remove the title first and delete the value also because I don't want it. So that one is there. That let me do this one too. Let's format it a bit. And so x-axis. Let me delete the whole x-axis because I already have the title and everything. So for this one, let's remove the grid lines. We don't need grid lines. What do we need? We don't need the x-axis title. We don't need the title. We don't need title for the y-axis too. So you can just play around all these visual, like format the visuals in any way you want. So you can play around with this. This is actually something that I can do. Just play around it and see how it works. So that is like you can see that my chart is looking much more better. So I can put in, let's say, I want to. So I might want to put in change the color. So probably I don't like this blue color or something like that, and I can do that by just coming to the visuals and under the bars. So under the bars, I can change it to, I still like blue though. So let's just use this like blue. Like blue, I don't know. So and this like this. I don't know. You can just change the color to whatever you want. And this and this. This is just me doing my thing with color. So also so for the line color, I can change it to what I want to. So that is that. So I have my dashboards now. Like it's actually making sense. It's looking like it's depending on what my manager, depending on what the management asked me to create. So I've created what they want to be seeing. So now after that, now the next thing you want to do now is, and you can see that the chart is interactive. See, it's interactive. It's interactive. It's not. It's, so what I want to do now, see next is I want to see the I want to add a filter option, like I want to be filtering all this dashboard on a particular thing. Like you want to have a slicer, we call it filter. So I can add a slicer whereby you want to filter based on day of the year, sorry, year, month of the year or day of the week or something like that. You can put your filter option there. That is, so to add a filter. So I'm going to click on this filter option here. You can see we have slicer. So you click on the slicer and when you click on the slicer, so what column do you want to like add a slicer on so that you can filter the whole chart based on that? So let's look at it. Okay, I want to like, okay, let's see what can we add a slicer on. City type. Okay, we don't have type here, so we can add slicer based on type of the phone. You understand that's the first thing. So based on type, and you can see what's going on here. So that one. So click on it, add it business type, add it with slicer, and you can see now it's showing your slicer here now. So you can easily leave your slicer in this way, or you can format it if you want a drop down, whereby if your slicer values are quite long, probably they are longer than this, they have so many categories, you can't leave them this way. So I can also format the filter because when I click on it, it's actually giving my results. This one, filter, not touch. So you might want to filter, you might want to filter this thing based on what's it called now. I want to change the filter option. Sorry. What did I just do? Okay. So I want to change this filter so that it's going to be a kind of a drop down list. So I don't want it because if I have so many categories, I can't list them here. So in that case, you can just select it. Okay, so to change the filter orientation, it's showing, like I said earlier, it's giving me, it's showing everything here. And I want to change to a drop down. So I just click on this option here. And instead of list, I'm going to select drop down. And you can see, so when you click on drop down, it's going to list all the categories that you want and you can select from that. So that is that one. So the next one we want to talk about now is I just want to put in the label to my what's it called now. So I can add in multiple slicer here. So for the first one, I can copy the second one, Control V. So probably I want to add a slicer on the let's say click on it. What I think can we add slicer on? Let's say um let's see what can we have? Probably based on, let's use date for example now. Let's use date. Let's say month. Based on month name. So I can filter based on, I can see my sales based on each month. I can see April and everything like that. So that is that. So the next thing I want to do now is this. And also you can name your the name, you can rename your, what's it called, your chart. Instead of putting customer percentage by distribution, I can say gender distribution. So I can easily just come here and do that. I just uh no, you can just, let's leave this one here. So to change the name of this thing, just come here under the visual and you come to the title. Under the title, let's check general. Under the title, you can see you can just change it to gender distribution. So that's that. So you can also change this revenue by operating system, total revenue by, by brand. Why do I drag this thing? Okay, this one should be total revenue. Uh, Still the same thing though. So total revenue by operating system, total revenue by brand, total revenue by city, total revenue by this. Let's just total revenue also. Total revenue by this. So that's that. So now I want to put in the name of the chart just to like make it look nicer. So for the name of the chart now, I'm just going to use a text box to label to format your area and put everything. So I'm going to select text box. And so from this text box now, so you can add in maybe uh, AZ uh, supermarkets. Oh yeah, you can see AZ supermarkets or electronics. AZ electronics because they're selling front electronics dashboard. So let's format this thing a bit. Just put in bold it. You have to bold it. Increase the size of the font. I want to increase to 14 or something. And I want to change the color to, I don't know, very bad color. Let's use maybe this. I don't know. Let's use this. So you might want to like do that and extend this thing a bit. So I want to like increase the font size again. Since I have more space and let it be at the center. You can understand the center, right? So and I think that's it. It's looking like it. So now, so that's it now. So this is just like a very simple dashboard. My dashboard is interactive, and if I share with my superior or my boss or anything or my clients, they can easily just filter and it's everything is interactive. So another thing is for you to be able to like. So another thing about dashboard, let me just quickly say something about this dashboard thing first. So for other people to have access to this dashboard, as it is now, you are the only one that's looking at the dashboard and you can have access to it. So for other people to have access to the dashboards, then you have to upload this dashboard to like a Power BI service. Probably you've created, you have an account. So when you upload it to Power BI service, you upload it online. Then you can generate a link and you can share with multiple people, and they can just anywhere they are, they can easily look at the dashboard. As data is populating the dashboard changes, and you can check it anytime, any day. So and that it is. So that we wrap it up for this Power BI creating interactive dashboard and that.